white male discrimination, woman debunks myth about gender-neutral bathrooms, and Rob Gronkowski makes his stance clear on men and women's sports. This ain't your mama's podcast, the Chico de Manuel Show. Let's get it. All right, so I usually like to start my opening segments off with something directed and deliberate, but like what needs to go now, whatever. But I just been finding like fuck it, man. It's my show. I do whatever the fuck I want to open segment. You still gonna get four things regardless, but I want to talk about this headline I found from Princess Free Zone. It says proof that liberals are clinically insane. Study finds that liberals are more likely to suffer from conservatives. No, a study finds that liberals are more likely than conservatives to suffer from mental illness. And I heard that, and I just thought, kind of like, what the fuck is this, a troll? Like, are they trolling? Because it certainly seems like a troll. Like, what? I mean, I don't dispute that there's some truth to it, but let's be real. Like, that sounds like a troll. Like, proof that liberals are clinically insane. Study finds that like whenever I hear something like study finds, like I always start to become wildly skeptical of that shit. But let's dip into it. And it's a slide, so there's that. Proof that liberals are clinically insane, blah, blah, blah. Conservatives are celebrating a study that they say proves liberals are insane. The data is undoubtedly interesting, but the results don't necessarily mean what right-wingers think. The research was conducted on people who identify as liberal, moderate, and conservative. All right, so that already lays the framework for this whole shit. Like, people who identify as liberal, moderate, or conservative. So it's like this is based on someone's subjective awareness of themselves. So that's not the best start. But anyway, let's do this too, because I don't. Awesome, much better. The world isn't black and white. Between the ages of 18 and 29, over 50% of liberal white women received a mental health diagnosis. On the other hand, both moderates and conservatives exhibited lower rates of mental illness, 28.4% and 27.3% respectively. The latter group have been quick to use this as proof that liberals are insane, but as is usually the case, things aren't so black and white. I mean, so to be fair, what was the headline of this article? Hold on, I'm trying to get my cursor to work with me here. What was the headline of this article? Fucking proof that liberals are clinically insane. Study finds that suffer from mental illness. So like, you can't. That's clickbaity as fuck. Like, is that not clickbaity? Like, proof that liberals are clinically insane. Study that finds, let me get something together. But then it's as we know, things aren't that black and white. Yeah, well, you kind of opened with things being black and white. Like, you opened by suggesting things were that black and white. So to open like that and then like backpedal, it's kind of bullshit, ain't it? Like, I would say, oh, clinical liberals are more insane than you think. Well, but and then what conservatives are the latter group has been quick to use this as proof that liberals are insane. Like, what conservatives? And first of all, like, I don't think you don't really need proof to see that some of the shit that these motherfucking liberals do is downright insane. Like, you don't really need a lot of proof. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. Like, you can look at some of the legislation and some of the doctrines that they support. Like, how the fuck can you not be insane and support some of this shit, And I don't hear any conservatives using this study, which we haven't got to yet, but I don't see any conservatives using this as proof that liberals are insane. I mean, in all honesty, you really don't need that much proof, but for the sake of actually having the proof, that's not really fair, I guess. Let's get back to reading. Many factors influence mental health. It's important to avoid oversimplification and generalization. As such, to suggest that someone's political stance directly determines their mental health status is grossly inaccurate. A plethora of factors can influence mental health, including genetics, environment, socioeconomic status. It may be more accurate, however, to suggest that mental health status can inform political beliefs. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it would be inaccurate to just outright suggest that somebody's clinically insane because they're a liberal, but it wouldn't be unfair to suggest that liberals are clinically insane when you see the kind of doctrines that they support, when you see the type of shit that they want, when you see the kind of policies that they try to put forward. So I don't think anyone's making an argument that if you are a liberal, then you're just clinically insane. But some of the things that liberals say could kind of lead you to think that they're fucking clinically insane, because I guess as a conservative, you would think that no sane person would be saying the shit that these people say. So, I mean, and that's it, since we gonna split hairs about this shit. Like, I understand this is real, like, intimate, nuanced talk about this shit. But if we gonna split the hair like that, then fuck it. Let's split the hair. What's next we got here? Compassion, social support, and inclusivity. People who struggle with their mental health might be likely to hold liberal political beliefs for a variety of reasons. Liberals tend to emphasize empathy and inclusivity, which can resonate with people seeking acceptance for their differences. Similarly, working class individuals who could be more likely to suffer with mental health problems due to financial stress and lack of access to therapy are often likely to support policies that prioritize safety nets and healthcare access. So, sounds like to me they're saying one side is more emotional and one side is more logical and rational. And if one side is having mental health issues due to financial stress and lack of access to therapy because they're, working for a living and have to shrug off a lot of shit and don't really have time to empathize, their problems come from serious shit. It's not just like, oh, well, we need to end world hunger and free health care for everybody and let the homeless defecate in the public parks. Like, everybody's going to say, oh, it depends on what side of the coin you look at it. And it's like, that can't really be just a fucking end all be all to like serious discussions. Like, everybody does this or it happens everywhere. Like, okay. But like, we're talking about right here and right now, not everywhere. Like, you can't just use the fact that something is ubiquitous or kind of all present everywhere. That's not an excuse. Like, that's okay. We get that. What does that actually do for anything though? Like, how does that actually fix any kind of situation? Like, I don't get that part. Racism and discrimination. Two of my favorite topics. Furthermore, ethnic minorities may lean toward liberal political beliefs due to concerns about systemic racism and the right's refusal to listen. Non-white individuals often experience heightened discrimination in society on top of prejudice in the medical system. As such, they might be more likely to experience mental health conditions due to high stress and a lack of support. I think something that's overlooked here in terms of what causes, like, I don't think racism causes mental illness. I don't think be more likely to experience mental health due to high stress and a lack of support. Like, yeah, at some point you gotta figure out this shit for yourself. Like, you are in charge largely of your mental health. I'm not talking about people like schizophrenic or like Alzheimer's, but it's like the things you do on a day-to-day basis and your perspective and how you view the things you experience in life also largely shape your mental health. Like, if you don't healthily process the events that happen to you in your life, then yeah, maybe it's a mental illness that you don't process them that way, but now your mental illness has become like, it's a cycle and it's just further propagating other mental illness. So I don't think in any situation is it really, you know, you got to take a level of personal responsibility for the mental illness that you have, or the mental illness that you can do something about, because that's kind of what leads to other mental illnesses. One mental illness unchecked and it just spirals down out of control. Complex and multifaceted relationship. The relationship between political beliefs and mental health is intricate. While the study in question revealed some interesting patterns in mental health diagnoses among different political groups, it's vital to approach the findings with caution and to recognize the multitude of factors that contribute to a person's mental health and political stance. Yeah, but it's like the more you start to become more precisely incisive in terms of like all the contributing factors, like the more specific you are in highlighting a problem, the more specific the solutions got to be. Like, you can't have broad solutions for specific issues. The broad solutions might cover some of the specific issues, but like ultimately, like the solution can't be so fucking precise that we gotta have if that's the case, we gotta have an individual solution for every single person. Every single person needs this solution. Your problem is specific to this degree, so we gotta give you a solution that's specific to this degree. Your problem is kind of broad, so we can hit you with a broad problem. And we like, you just not like those broad ideas like end world hunger or, like not one assault, like things like that. Those are good ideas that motivate you in that right direction. But like, you can't recognize every multitude of every factor that contributes to a person's mental health status and political stance. Like, it's far too custom. Like, it's not even practical to find that kind of shit out. Like, it's just not. The internet responded. News of the study's results was shared across the internet and opinions were divided. Conservatives accused liberals of being insane. Liberals accused conservatives of being more insane. And leftists urged both groups to stop. Conservatives accused liberals of being insane. Liberals accused conservatives of being more insane. And leftists urged both groups to stop looking at the issue through a black and white lens. The internet, please show me where the internet responded, because I haven't, like, where's the internet responding? Like, I haven't heard anything like this. I haven't heard any conservatives fucking calling people insane or left. I mean, we call leftists insane all the time, but not just generally. Like, due to this study, leftists are now insane. Like, show me where this is happening, because I haven't heard anything about it. I'm not necessarily privy to pass up on the opportunity to call leftists insane, because most of them are. Liberals don't pledge loyalty to an ex-president. As I previously noted, many liberals accuse conservatives of being the crazy ones. All I can say is I don't see liberals going around with flags waving in the pickups. I don't see liberals on the side of the street holding signs pledging loyalty to an ex-president. I know a lot of conservatives, and I can tell you that their elevator does not reach the top floor. Okay, well, isn't this what they just said? Just the back and forth. We call you insane, you call us insane. You call us insane, we call you insane. Like, it's just a lot of that. Like, which overall sounds insane to me to even engage in that level of shit. What's it say right here? A useless study. Others said the study's results were unlikely to be accurate. Look at the methodology. It was self-reported, not a blind study. Small sample size. Pretty much all the data there is useless, one person said. Has anyone actually looked further into the study? There's no way these results are accurate. Liberals are clinically insane, apparently. Conservatives were delighted by the results. Proof that liberals are clinically insane, not that we needed it, one person said. You needed a survey for this? Take a walk through downtown Portland, another echoed. Ha, liberals will never be taken seriously ever again, another wrote. Like, this is a stupid ass discussion. Like, this is stupid. Like, this debate is stupid to be in. Like, ha ha, I knew you liberals were clinically insane, and now we have something to prove it. Like, never needed it. Like, if you're a conservative and you're functioning like a you a GP, general population. You're not some fringe, extremist, radical, far right, whatever. Like, you a just a regular conservative. Like, you don't really go around looking for ways to prove that liberals. I mean, like, you call it out when you see it, but it's not like my goal is just to show to the world that, like, oh yeah, you guys are insane, and we finally got you. This is the gotcha moment. Like, nobody gives a fuck, man. This isn't a real debate. Like, it's not. If you're conservatives, you know to what degree liberals are crazy. You call it out when you see it, and you don't really need to like it's some type of conspiracy theory. Like, people really weren't sure about this shit at some point. Like, it's just not. It's more important shit in life than that. Liberals weren't surprised. A few liberals weren't surprised by conservative responses. Why am I not surprised that conservatives consider empathy, compassion, kindness to be mental health problems? One person wrote, conservatives think being trans is mental illness, so I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. And see, I think I'm going to have to stop reading these fucking slides, because, like, this shit, it's not really, it's not the report on, like, this isn't news. This isn't news. Like, leftists were frustrated, rightists were frustrated, moderates were frustrated, and like, this little shit they provide that's supposed to be, I guess, man, this shit isn't fucking newsworthy, dude. It's just not. There's no proof that leftists are clinically insane, and, like, there are no conservatives just, like, bursting at the seams ready to gloat over this shit. This ain't news. It's fucking stupid. I'm disgusted that I read it. I just thought, like, it was gonna provide something actually damning, and it didn't. So I apologize for wasting your time and my time with this dumb shit. So maybe I'm the one who's clinically insane. Okay, so I did kind of a pivot here. I know I said I was going to talk about discrimination towards white males. Jesus. But we're not going to do that, because I'm kind of done with those slides. Like, I'm coming to see, after doing them for a couple months, they just tend to suck. Like, slides suck. I want to read articles. I don't want to read slideshows that are just repetitive and seem to be generally just theme. The general theme is leftism, and they just take up way too much time to just repeat the same points over and over again. Like, I'm just not. I'm not with the shit. Like, these shows don't. They're not getting at anything. So I tried to find something that was a little relevant to me on the fly. There's an article here from, let's see, from Your Tango. Says, why being a loner ruined me for long-term relationships. And that headline kind of hits home with me, because I definitely would describe myself as a loner. I don't have a lot of friends. The friends I have kind of went their own way regarding me, which, more power to them. I wish them all the best. I mean, I feel that way, but I definitely wish you all the best. Like, you will never catch me on record hating on these niggas. I feel how I feel about it, but it is what it is. But I notice even in my dating life, like, it's not that I don't have the tools to pull women. It's just that I don't have the desire. Like, I'm not trying to do player things no more. Like, I'm looking for the chick that's gonna be there, the one I can get to know, the one who I can know inside and out, understand, have a great deal of respect for, and marry. Ultimately, however we come to do, I don't know if I want to state in my marriage. I don't think I want to state in my marriage, but there will be some way I can symbolize and demonstrate my lifelong commitment to a woman. And one night stands, like, yeah, I get horny and shit, but I just know it's just, I would rather be horny in the moment and go shoot one off in the bathroom than waste my time or waste some other girl's time on some goofy ass temporary shit. And I'm just not the type of person that you can really fucking like. You need time. Like, you need time to figure out you like me, and then like I'm a process. Like, and then whoever I deal with is gonna be a process too, because that's just the kind of person that I am. And when you know what you want, and when you got laser focus like that in terms of dating, you kind of narrow down all your possibilities. And it's not like just because you're surrounded by women don't mean all these women are compatible. Because I'm ultimately looking for something serious. And if someone else ain't looking for serious, like, I'm not even interested in the pregame. Like, I'm not interested in the foreplay and all that shit. Like, I'm looking to settle the fuck down. I'm looking for a woman that's gonna have my babies, and that takes time. It takes time to find. It takes a lot of courage and risks on behalf of the participants. So to get to this article here, says, hang on. There's something to be said about doing everything alone, whether it's going to movies, traveling, or even dinners. Rolling solo has been a prevalent part of my life, and to be honest, there's a level of confidence in doing your own thing that you just can't find while in a relationship. For example, just this past New Year's Eve, I decided to do something out of the ordinary and take a date out on the town. I had someone in mind, so I asked her in advance if I should make plans for New Year's Eve. She said no. However, as people do, she changed her mind, asking me on the night of the 30th what plans I had. Of course, I had none, as planning as a single person often allows for last-minute options, and I was still holding out on some hope that she'd want to do something. After a couple of hours negotiation via text, we finally settled on simply having dinner somewhere nice. Not necessarily the party I wanted, but I decided that company would trump a blowout of any type, and I was good with it. 18 hours later, while trying to reconfirm our plan, she said out of the blue that she no longer wanted to go out for New Year's, and naturally, I was pissed. Not so much because she was bailing on me, but because I gave her a number of options to not do anything, only willing to make plans once she asked me to. Uh-huh. By 9 p.m., I was doing the thing that I thought I would do in the first place, what I usually do, going out alone. But I was sitting at the bar of the night spot I chose, impeccably dressed, and I realized that maybe this was my fault after all. Not just for the blown date, but in general. The last full-blown relationship I was in was about 3 years ago. She was nice and had a great heart. Things ended because she wanted to put a label on what we have, and frankly, I didn't want that. It wasn't because I wanted someone else that I wasn't happy. I was happy, but I was even happier knowing that I had the option to do everything on my own. Living a single life became preferable, and when faced with putting all that away for a long-term relationship, I responded by giving back her house key and never seeing her again. These are competing thoughts on whether being alone is good or bad for one's overall health, but everyone's in agreement that there's a clear difference between being alone and between being lonely. With the advent of social media, no one ever truly feels alone due to connections they may have via Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media application or site. But when sending tweets or photos of your last meal, or posting photos of your last meal, people responding works as a sort of substitution for human interaction. But is it? As I look ahead to my 40th birthday, I wonder whether or not it's too late to build something with someone while also fighting out the desires and benefits of being single, the largest of which includes being able to control my time and finances, which I know sounds selfish, and to a certain extent it is. I simply prefer to make plans without all the added complications and cost. I could certainly choose to be alone in perpetuity, but with breaks for the occasional short-term affair. But where will that leave me? I don't consider myself to be lonely, even though being a writer is, by default, a lonely profession. Much of what I do is engineered and designed to be handled alone, with minimum interaction needed to get the job done. I still harbor a fantasy for family, doting on a wife and kids with reverence and love, taking family vacations and seeing the joy in their eyes as they get what they always wanted for Christmas, or dancing with my wife as the clock strikes midnight, signaling another year. All those things still live in my heart, but they grow more distant as I cling to a comfortable single life. Whatever happens, for good or ill, as long as we're honest with ourselves about being single, then certainly the concept of being a loner should never really be a negative one. I've had some amazing people in my life, and there'll always be more until there aren't. Alone does not have to be forever, but if it is, so be it. I've accomplished quite a bit up to this point, with every hope that I do even more before my story officially comes to a close. That said, even though our futures are certainly unwritten, old habits often die hard. And my fear is that the crutch of singlehood I've relied on for so long has finally become a thief. So, that was well put. That was a good read. We echoed a lot of the sentiments there. We said a little bit of the same things, like how one night stands are just generally purposeless. It's like I'm using all my charm, all my lived experience, all the things that a woman finds attractive, the things that allow me to win in the dating game. Like the way women look at their pussy is the way I look at all that charm, the way I look at my swagger, the way I look at my confidence. Like, you don't know how hard it was to not be nervous around you or to not let the nervousness affect me. You don't know how bad I wanted to be accepted, how bad I wanted to be the object of your desire. And a lot of that was because I know I currently was not the object of your desire, but I could be that. I'm always in a state of I could be that, you know? And then in the process of you trying to become that, you understand and you come across like red pill shit, or you learn about pickup and you learn about hypergamy and how women are. And then it's like, okay, well, I don't really want to do that anymore. I don't really want to spend all my time pursuing women, especially when they're just playing hard to get, because there are other guys out there who can give these women the things that they want. Not because I'm any less capable or significant or, cool or whatever. But there's just other niggas out there that's just cooler than me. Like, they've got more of the qualities and the assets that deliver results, and I don't. So you start to just kind of realize, like, why should I sit here and continuously play a losing game? Why should I sit here and play a losing game where I'm just gonna lose out to other niggas that drive faster cars, tip bigger, spend, just wear nicer jewelry, might not be smarter than me, might not be more clever than me, might not be as dynamic as me, but those qualities don't translate in a broader sense, like what's gonna get the girl. Like, what's gonna get the girl? And if it's not what I'm doing, then like, why the fuck do I care about it? And then once you break out of that mindset and you understand that a lot of times when you do things just to attract a woman, those aren't the things that women are really attracted to anyways. And you don't really have an identity beneath that. You just become this nigga who will do whatever the fuck is necessary to get some female attention. You do, and I could do what works, but I want to do what works for me. Not just what works to get women. I want to do what works for Chico. And I also want to do a fair amount of vetting to make sure the woman I'm with is going to be able to, we're going to be able to get through turbulent times, and it's not going to be some irreconcilable bullshit. Like, we're going to be able to sit down, express our thoughts, say what's on our minds, talk to each other and shit. And we ain't got to worry about a motherfucker walking out unless it's just a situation that you should walk away from. Unless one of us just become like eternally toxic in a way that's just not like that can't, get all caught off into drugs or like just like when you like, that kind of flavor when you so deep off in something that you need an intervention of some sort. Then yeah, you go. But shit gonna be hard. That's why I don't care for the honeymoon phase, like that old beginning phase where everything is just great and the sex is constant and all that shit. But then it's like, once I start to be like, okay, now that was fun, time to get back to work. It's like, nah, I can't just sit here and lay up with you all day and perhaps get high or watch movies, fuck, cook, go places, gallivant, all that kind of shit. Like, you can't be doing that all the time. That's not all the time. Eventually, we got to get down to business. That's just like that's the reward physiologically in our brains that we get in those beginning stages of the relationship, because it's all Gucci then. It's all glamorous. But when it's actually time to get to work, can you get to work? Can you allow me to get to work? Or is you going to be getting in my way? Is you going to be stressing me out? What's the long-term plan here? I ain't trying to take no shortcuts to that. As the great Patrice O'Neal once said, these shortcuts become long cuts to my fucking happiness, to my peace of mind. And I ain't trying to pay the piper later. If I need to pay the piper, let's pay this nigga up front right now so we don't ever have to see the fucking piper again. Fuck the piper. I don't fuck with the piper. When I have to fuck with the piper, I break that nigga off up front and get to stepping. Because fuck the piper. But you can't dodge the piper. You know? So this dude, he says he's so comfortable with his single life. It's like, yeah, single life is comfortable, but it's too easy. Like, you're chasing comfort. Your single life is comfortable. But like, too much comfort, I'm not saying don't ever do anything that makes you comfortable, but too much comfort leads to complacency. Like, you need enemies to keep you sharp. Like, when you active and you out in this world and you moving around and shit, you need opposition. Opposition keeps you on your toes. When you get too comfortable and you feel like you've won all the battles that there are to be fought, that's when you breed complacency. That's how motherfuckers retire and then die. Because they lose an integral part of themselves. Whether it was a career, whether it was a family, like, once you lose that meaning, like, once you hit like 18, like, if you don't really, like, what's the point? You realize you don't have to keep living if you don't want to. You can just jump off a bridge or some shit. Like, you don't got to subscribe to any of this shit. You don't. But you do for some reason. Like, you're here to do something. You're not just here to just gallivant, waste time. Like, you're here to be human. You're here, you go party or, like, have some dangerous fun. Yeah, you're here to do that. But that's usually comes ultimately as a chapter in the story. Like, that kind of behavior took you to a place which made you realize, based on the place you are now and the places that you've been, where you want to be. So, like, those things exist to level you out. Like, you gotta walk in the darkness to understand that you want to be in the light. Pretty much like that. Some people don't have to walk in the darkness, but I think a lot of people do. I think it's pretty standard that most people make rash, poor decisions before they mature and find a walkable path in their life. So, I think Dog might just be, he said he about to turn 40. It's like, you haven't gotten tired of being selfish yet? Like, you don't already understand and accept that to a degree you're going to always be unappreciated as a man. Like, what you do is going to be overlooked, mocked, and ridiculed by people. And very few will ever really know the true sacrifices that you make. You don't know that? That's part of it, though, man. That's the battle you fight. That's the honor in that. That's why you do it. So, like, when it's all said and done, when they tell your story, it'll be shit they never knew. Like, the shit you had, the shit you carried on your shoulders, niggas never even knew. Because you did what was harder. You didn't do what was easy. You didn't stay in comfort too long. I mean, you show life, man. You do whatever you want to do. But even as a loner myself, like, I would definitely describe myself as a lone wolf, a Sigma. I walk to the beat of my own drum, and a lot, if not most people, find that alienating. And that's okay with me. Because I'm not looking for the people who find it alienating. I'm looking for the ones that don't. And it's a search. That's why I'm looking for them. So I trust the process, If I put that shit out there to the universe and I take action, I have the best chance of getting what I want. It's not guaranteed, but I give myself the best odds to do it. I mean, why would I not ever do that, Can't wait to hear this. Courtesy of Scoop Upworthy. Woman debunks myth that gender-neutral bathrooms are uncommon and complex with simple example. Let's take a look at this woman. Let's just read the captions. Hey boys, you see that bathroom over there? You know how we all use the same one at home? It's like that. I don't know, it seemed pretty easy to me because it's not hard. I love. Like on a plane. Okay, so how do we unpack this? Okay, so like on a plane, like you understand that the the inherent nature of being in a pressurized tube gliding thousands of feet in the air, tens of thousands of feet in the air. Like, what would be the point of having men's and women's restroom on an airplane, somewhere you're only going to be for hours at best? What's the point of having, a bath? Sorry, ma'am, you must go in the women's restroom on this plane, bro. We about to land in like an hour. Like, it would be stupid. It would be stupid to enforce some shit like that. And it's like, yo, we 30 minutes from landing. I got to take a piss. Like, and then oftentimes I've been on many planes in my life. I don't ever really recall a time where all the bathrooms on a plane were occupied. And if it was like all occupied on the men's half and the women's half, that you would need to like make that kind of decision. Like, all right, well, we let you use the women's bathroom this one time. Like, no, it's not like on a plane at all. That's completely incoherent. Completely incoherent. And because it's not hard, ease of difficulty is not necessarily a reason to do something. Like, it wouldn't be hard to not butcher and mutilate children, but people seem to keep doing that shit. Could just be me, but it just seems to be the theme here. But any fucking way, let's read this nonsense. Woman debunks myth that gender-neutral bathrooms are uncommon and complex with simple example. The world has gone far ahead from the times when people had to hide their true identities. There is a constant attempt to make the world an inclusive space by encouraging people to open up about their preferences and desires. Unfortunately, there are still naysayers out there trying to stop people from living their own lives. Sometimes these attempts are see-through, as it is clear that it's just a way for them to chastise people for living their truth, which isn't real, by the way. Ashley, who goes by Ashley Noke Zero on TikTok, attempts to debunk a myth against gender inclusivity through a simple explanation. The video is a stitch with a woman named Martin who is questioning gender-neutral bathrooms in her video. She goes on a rant. Is this what we're having to raise our kids now in? That's grammatically stupid. That we have to tell them at 10 years old what an all-gender bathroom is? Her opinion was that 10-year-olds should not be subjected to such complexities and that they must be given the liberty to have an uncomplicated childhood, as if allowing the people to live on their own terms is a difficult task. Now, you notice how they always use real vague and ambiguous language to like kind of glaze over the obvious problem of wording it for what it is. They're just allowing people to live on their own terms. So you're allowing men to piss and shit where women piss and shit. You're allowing men to play sports where women play sports. You're allowing men to be women where women already are. Just say it for what it is. I'm talking about live out their truth. Like, the fuck does that shit mean to me? Like, I don't know what their truth is. That's the difference between an objective and a subjective truth. Like, something that's objectively true is like, if I say the Eiffel Tower is in Paris, France, like if we say the Eiffel Tower is in Paris, France, you say, no, it isn't. We can get on a plane. We can go to France. We can figure that out. We can end that debate. There's no, but how do we know that's Paris, France? Like, it ain't none of that shit. Like, objectively, you can see this shit. You can ask anybody here. We're in Paris. Okay. So let's say you have a truth. Let's just say your truth is when you was 10 years old, your dad smacked you in the face and broke your jaw or some shit like that. So now you think all men are jaw smacking zombies. You know, like that. It's your truth in the sense that it's your lived experience, but what makes it an objective truth is that we can all know it. Like we can all know this to be true. Like anybody who is existing right now can know this to be a fact, proven. Your subjective truth, you know that it's true. You lived your experience. We can't tell you that your experience is not lived. But the fact that I can't, unless I was there with you, I can't know that. I can only take your word for it. It's a different element to that. That's a subjective reality because it's it's subject to you telling me what it is. It's subject to you telling me. The Eiffel Tower is there whether I know about it or not. Like that's true whether I know about it or not. Your lived experience is true to the extent that you've just delivered it to me. That's the difference. That's why you can't have a truth. Like it might be true to you, but if it's not true to everybody, then it could be false. Or just like, you know how the idea of God, whether God's real or not, all the people collectively believing in it make it real. Like if all people can't collectively believe in your truth, then it's subjective. That's how that works. Same way. That's why you don't have a truth. Because we don't know that. We can't be in your mind to live your life. Ashley, through her 10-second video, attempts to break this woman's misunderstanding. She records a video while pretending to speak to one of the boys. In order to explain to them the concept of gender-neutral bathrooms, she simply says, "Hey boys, you see that bathroom over there? You know how we all use the same one at home? It's like that." The fact of the matter is that gender-neutral bathrooms are not a unique concept and are actually the norm in most households. Families usually use a common bathroom and do not differentiate between men and women. Yeah, but okay, so let's examine that part. Let's examine that part of it right here. Okay, so what did you say? Gender neutral bathrooms are not a unique concept and are actually the norm in most households. Okay, so what's the norm outside of households? What's the norm aside from that? Hmm. What's the norm in most not households? Male and female bathrooms. The closest thing you come to that is a porta potty. So, I mean, families usually use a common bathroom and do not differentiate between men and women. Okay, so that statement is indeed true. Families do usually use a common bathroom and do not differentiate between men and women. Because what would be the point of that? It's not that the bathroom is gender neutral. It's just that it's simpler for everyone to use one bathroom. Like, what if you're two men who move into a house that have a male that two females used to live in? So now you got to install another bathroom in the house. So it's a male bathroom for you to use because that's how it's done. And like, that shit doesn't make sense. Like, it's private. Like, it's private. Like, it's generally private in bathrooms in general. But like the bathroom in your house has a unique degree of privacy that like a public bathroom doesn't have. Like a public bathroom gives you privacy, but you don't have the privacy of knowing who can walk in there. At home, you know who the fuck should be walking in and out of your bathroom. You know? It makes more sense to share that space. This shouldn't have to be explained. Like, I really should not have to explain this half-baked ass debunk. Like, this shit doesn't debunk anything. It's just pseudo thoughtful. Like, this is fake critical thinking. Bitch, this you ain't saying shit. Families use the common bathroom and do not differentiate. So you just gonna find every example where something doesn't happen and that's why you shouldn't do it. That's like saying, that's like saying I'm trying to find a real good example for this. I'm gonna find it. Like, that's like saying just because people go to shooting range to shoot their gun, they should just shoot it in their backyard too, at home. You know, because if you would go to the shooting range, you were just shooting at the same shit, so you should just be able to shoot at your home too. You know? Oh fuck. I'm in a dilemma. This is what I'll do. People, in their effort to propagate their own conservative thoughts, tend to twist the normal thing into an out of the world phenomenon, just like how living out your truth is not abnormal. In the same way, having common bathrooms is not an out of place thing that will cause disorientation in the children. It is just a practice of home etiquette transferred into the outside world. Moreover, it is important to help children understand the concept of gender identity. No, it's not. Therefore, such discussions should actually be encouraged. No, they shouldn't. Parents should be able to move out of their own comfort zone and aid their children in being able to live the way they desire. No, they shouldn't. This will go a long way in giving children a wholesome life, according to Cameron Van Fossen, Executive Director of Gender Spectrum. I wonder if Cameron Van Fossen has any fucking kids. This stupid ass paragraph. And this is a dumb fucking paragraph. The paragraph is stupid. Fossen, in his interview with Timeshare, for most kids, experimenting with gender will be just that, exploration and play. For some kids, though, it may feel more intense, and parents need to be ready for both. They must be a source of information and understanding, and for that, they need to decenter themselves and prioritize their kids. Parental understanding has been considered a huge factor by the Trevor Project in the upbringing of children, according to their report. LGBTQ youth with supportive parents are much less likely to take dangerous steps. Like, I don't trust any of their fucking statistics, man. Like, what the fuck is the Trevor Project? What is that? What is that? Is that a university or something? Like, is that like what is that? Like, I'm not gonna look it up. I don't care. But like, what the fuck is that, dog? Like, by the Trevor Project and the upbringing of children, parental understanding has been considered a huge factor. What does that mean? What does that parental understanding? For most kids, experimenting with gender will be just that, exploration and play. For some kids, it may feel more intense. Seriously, what does that mean? What does that mean? I really want to know what that means. Experimenting with gender? Okay, so what do you mean by experimenting with gender? You mean gay sex? What are you talking about? Be specific. Just that language shit, man. They real flimsy with the fucking language, man. They say what they want to say, how they want to say it. And they just block out everything else. It's fucking nuts. People with LGBTQ with supportive parents are much less likely to take dangerous steps. What do you mean dangerous steps? The fuck is dangerous steps, dude? What is that? You mean like what? Like walking off a bridge? Like walking through some dilapidated, deteriorated wood? Walking into a manhole? Like, what do you mean dangerous steps? Like walking up to a dinosaur? Walking down some steps coated with Teflon? Like, what dangerous steps? Make it make sense. Stop talking in that bullshit language. Fucking weird, huh? It's fucking weird. The comment section was in agreement with Ashley Noko and her views. Cam D444 shared their own experience. My nephew is more confused why he can't come with me into the women's bathroom when his default is all gender family bathroom. No, he's not. Stop lying. Bro, stop the fucking capping. Ain't no fucking nephew confused why he can't come to you with you in the women's goddamn bathroom when his default. Who the fuck has default bathrooms? You ain't never really had to piss real bad. Like, oh, excuse me, do you guys have a default gender neutral bathroom that I could go to? Nigga, I would piss in somebody's sink if I had to piss bad enough. I wouldn't give a fuck. But I'm not gonna say, hey, excuse me, do you got a women's bathroom I can go piss in? Cause I'm not a woman. Like, it doesn't make sense, man. At Midtext83 commented on how she had a similar conversation with her kids. Of all the conversations I've had with my kids, this has been the easiest. Their response, oh, okay, and life moved on. No, I don't believe some of these conversations happen. I don't believe there are fucking nephews walking around talking about hey, so why don't we why don't we use the women's bathroom? I mean, I'm a man. I mean, that women's is just like the name of the bathroom, right? It doesn't like actually mean that I couldn't go in there as a guy, right? Because I like to use the bathroom with women because I'm not a creep. I'm not a weirdo. I want to offer the girl in the next stall to meet tampons while we both drop dukes. That's my fantasy. It actually gets me off. I want to get off while me and the girl in the next stall who I lend tampons to drop dukes. That's my fucking fantasy. And you telling me that's normal? That's normal? That's okay? That's promoted? Like, how, how do you hear some shit like this and not be like worried? Like, how do you hear some shit like this and just like sleep normal? Just like, oh, they're just trying to integrate the bathrooms and erase women from the culture. Okay, like, nigga, hell no. Like, they talk about it's not hard to understand the concept of gender neutral bathrooms, and I agree. It's not hard to do it. It's also not hard to understand why that shit is fallacious. That is unnecessary. It's unnecessary. What is the benefit for everybody of gender neutral bathrooms? Like, how do you not tie that into some weird autogynephilic fucking weird ass kind of shit? Like, how is it not that? How are you not like living out some type of sexual fantasy in the form of being? It's like taboo, man. It's like you somewhere you shouldn't be, and it's amongst women. That's what's taboo about that shit. That's why people care. And what's the point of the distinction if we're just going to use each other's bathrooms? What's the benefit in extending household customs into the public world? They call it household for a reason. What's the impetus behind extending household behaviors into the public space? Where's the correlation here? Like, actually, the way you behave at home and the way you behave in the public space are different. Because the home is where you are entitled to a sense of privacy. The public is all shared. That's why you don't just bring your customs out in the open like that. Because, needless to say, it's fucking stupid. It's inappropriate. Like, why do you want... Like, why can't you just have a bathroom designed for you? Like, these people are upset that they can't use the bathroom that wasn't designed for them. They want to neutralize it. Like, this bathroom was not designed for you. Yes, you could use it. Like, you could theoretically and you could physically walk into that bathroom, eliminate, and go. You could do that. But this is not, there's a place for you to do that. You just don't like the place that has been assigned to you. What's the point of making assignments if you're just not going to obey them? It's like your doctor say, yo, you need to take this pill 3 times a day, for 30 days. And you take it 1 time a day for 15 days. And then twice a day for 5, and then once a day for another 10. Like, then you don't get the benefit you were supposed to get, and you come back looking at the doctor like, no, it's not hard, You all you had to do was this was what you had to do. This is for you, and you want to do shit your way. You want to do the thing you're not supposed to do. It's not even like nobody's telling you. Nobody really have to tell you to use the correct bathroom because it's like men's, women's. Like, you have one for you. Why do you? If it's you would think if you give someone what they need, that solves the problem. But for you, when you're given what you need, it exacerbates the problem. Because you don't want to use the one that was made for you. You want to use the one that wasn't made for you. And you want us to not have a problem with that. You want us to not have a problem with your misuse of something that was not designed to be used that way. Like, what the fuck, man? whoever this, what's the fucking name? Ashley Noko, Ashley Noko, NOK0. I can't find her tag. Yep, ASHLEN ASHLEL. Is that it? ASHLELNOK0. Yeah, okay. That shit didn't. I didn't see that second L. Ashel Noko. Okay, so Ashley. That's her TikTok tag. Go send her some facts and logic, please. I would not dare step foot back on TikTok. It's a horrible, awful place. I don't find any enjoyment in it. But for all of you that still do choose to dip and dabble in the TikTok universe, please go send this woman some facts and logic. Be relentless. Hit her with facts and logic. And it's not a myth that gender neutral bathrooms are uncommon. They are uncommon, you stupid fuck. So upon pulling up this next headline, courtesy of Fox News, they made a pretty bad gaffe. Like, who the fuck? I see so many typos in all these articles that I read on this show. It's like, how in the fuck are y'all journalists, dog? How y'all call yourselves journalists and y'all could barely spell? Just miss words that make me hesitate on sentences because they don't check out grammatically in my head. Have me stumbling, looking like a slack-jawed troglodyte trying to read these incoherent sentences. Check this headline from Fox News. What we got here? Ron Gronkowski makes stands clear on men and women's sports. There's really no argument. Now, my first question about that article is, who the fuck is Ron Gronkowski? Who is Ron Gronkowski? Ron Gron? No. So, we can take a small scroll down. We got a video from Fox News we'll watch, but just so we know that they made a fuck up here. Last month, NFL great Rob Gronkowski. But on this headline, it says Ron Gronkowski. Come on, Fox News. It's 3 fucking letters. You got one job. One job. Spell. This is the English language here. This is a simple ass error. Like, how did this not? I saw it immediately. How did this not get past somebody? How did this slip through the cracks? Ron Gronkowski. Man, fuck. Let's watch this video, bro. Wait, what? Okay, that's not related to this. But we might get back to that. That said somebody's mama's body was found in a creek. Fuck no. Okay, anyway. Let's read. Last month, NFL great Rob Gronkowski was asked point blank, should men be allowed to play women's sports? Gronkowski was walking through the U.S. Capitol when the Daily Reporter asked the former tight end a question. The 4-time Super Bowl champion shook his head for an emphatic no and remained silent. Yeah, that's Ron Gronkowski right there. You see him? Take a look at this guy. That's Ron Gronkowski. Now, I don't know who the fuck this Rob Gronkowski is. Like, it's only one Gronkowski that I know of, and it's Ron Gronkowski. Like, this guy, if he's walking around saying he's Ron Gronkowski, he's a fucking poser, okay? And he needs to stop doing what he's doing. Gronkowski did not provide an explanation at the time because he says there isn't a need for one. The New England Patriots legend said it's obvious and it should not be allowed. There's really no thoughts to even share. It's the obvious, Gronkowski told Fox News Digital in a recent interview. There are men's sports for men. There are women's sports for women. It's to stay just like that. It's as simple as that, man. There's really no argument. There should really be no conversation about it. Now, see, that's what's up. Credit to Gronk for one, not getting caught up in the bullshit, not making some kind of statement that could be twisted and mangled so they can call him a transphobe or all this other made up ass derogatory pejorative shit that they want to toss around casually. There's none of that. There are men's sports for men. There's women's sports for women. It should stay just like that. Same thing with the fucking bathrooms, man. Like, there are men's sports for men. There are women's sports for women. It's like you said, those are household traditions that you extend into the public. Well, this is a public tradition that you extend into the fucking household. It should stay just like that. There's really no argument. There should really be no conversation about it. 100% true. I've even said this. Like, we need to stop having this fucking conversation with these goddamn people about this shit in terms of trans women in sports. I probably talk about this shit every single episode. Like, when it comes up, like, I literally have to try to avoid it sometimes because I know I could talk about this shit all day long. It's the most obviously, hilariously, hysterically, fucking foolishly obvious decision that should not be made to put trans women in sports. And something I used to say, and I will keep saying again, as I said, that fucking the lesser of two evils is you create a transgender league. But then I thought about it, and it was like, if you create a transgender league, then that means trans women, DNA men, will be participants in that league. And if they're currently dominating women in women's sports now, even if biological women were welcome into the transgender leagues, they would still be ultimately squeezed out by DNA men. So it would be no point to have the transgender league. It would still be exclusionary to women. And it's no longer a lesser of two evil. Now it's just, it's unintelligible. It doesn't work. The transgender league doesn't work because all it does is serve to further exclude women from athletics. That's what it does. So trans women can't be in sports. Before it might have been just me just saying, "No, fuck that, I don't want them in sports." Now it's just like, oh wait, I don't see a way out anymore. I don't see how you include trans women in athletics without affecting women. Like, this doesn't affect men that much because the men are the one appropriating. This benefits men at the detriment to women. How it's been is how it should be. Men play men's sports, women play women's sports. It's as simple as that. It's really unfair if a man went into a women's sport and played it. It just really doesn't make much sense to me. The 34-year-old retired after 11 NFL seasons and winning 4 Super Bowls, 3 with the New England Patriots and 1 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and all of them with Tom Brady throwing to him. Gronk was a 5-time Pro Bowler and first team All-Pro. In his final season, he had 802 receiving yards in 12 games played. That's fucking great. That's really good, actually. Yeah, so look at these winners right here. These are fucking winners right here. This is what winners look like. Hold on, there we go. Look at those guys. They know what's up. They know they understand how this shit works. Those are the faces of winners right there. And the people who aren't winners are the ones trying to basically eradicate women. And it doesn't really even take Ron Gronkowski to tell us this. Like, this is common knowledge. I don't really know how else to I don't know any other euphemism that's sufficient. I did episode 49 about the girl who played one play in like a D3 college football game, in a blowout game at that, in which her team had a 26-0 lead, sacked the dude well after he threw the ball, It was seen as a hurry up, a quarterback hurry, which it wasn't, and is deemed historic. Like, we were supposed to relish in that shit. Like, we were supposed to be like, oh my God, she's a trailblazer. She's reaching milestones, and she's advancing the cause of women. And I was like, no, you're going to get some woman killed. You're going to get some woman hurt. You think women could go up against these motherfuckers? Like, you think a woman in her physical athletic prime could go up against it? I just seen a YouTube shortly before I even started laying this down. Talk about how a guy, he had a friend that used to train with Amanda Nunes. And if you're not familiar with Amanda Nunes, she's arguably the greatest female MMA fighter of all time. I think she was champ at one point. Like, Amanda Nunes is a tough, she's tough as fuck. She's tough as nails. And he said, no, this was Jorge Masvidal. He was interviewing with somebody else. Jorge Masvidal who said this. Jorge Masvidal was like, they could just take a fucking a sacrificial lamb, like just some old bottom of the barrel 2-2 fighter from the UFC to go in for a sparring match with Amanda Nunes, and they would say, hey dog, tell him not to go full blast on her. Cause it's like, women's bodies aren't designed to handle the kind of punishment a man's body can take. Like, they're not the same. They are not the same. And it is not said to be insulting towards women. Like, insulting women is not the goal here. What is the goal is to actually protect women. But in this society we live in, anything men say that has the intention of keeping women safe, protecting women, is seen as oppression. You are withholding some part of life from a woman that she is entitled to. Like, you are keeping that from her by telling her to do certain things, by trying to be an authoritative figure, by doing what, as a man, you naturally are inclined to do with women. Like, you want to protect them. You want to keep them safe inherently. But when you do that, you're seen as oppressive. It's like, how am I being oppressive? Do you know what's out there? Why is it not a good thing to protect women anymore? Women used to like that shit. Women used to like big, strong man, because like, big, strong man keep you safe. Big, strong man go out, kill lion so you can eat. And while we don't got to go out and hunt physically like we used to, you know, those things used to matter. What you gonna do when all the grocery stores go down? All the grocery stores go out of business, the food supply chain collapses or some shit like that. Then what you gonna do? You gonna count on your pink-haired boyfriend to go out there and hunt amongst all the other people that gotta hunt now? Bitch, you at the bottom of the food chain. You gonna get demolished. And your woman gonna leave you for a nigga like me that's gonna pump your ass with the gauge and take your bitch. Shit. I'm gonna be the one to come wipe you out. You easy game. What you gonna do, you fucking pink-haired vegan? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Just that mentality right there. It's like, the fact that I can come through, wipe you out, and your chick see that and be like, oh, she put 2 and 2 together. This, that nigga, I'm with him. Just shows men and women are different. Because if it was a nigga in there, like I said, I'd take you out. I gotta take you out to put that in, like, you know, I'm taking you from him. And she said, okay, daddy. She just come with me. Why? Because she just seen what I did to you. So there's a lot that don't need to be said now. Nigga, I came through this bitch with authority. You coming with me. I ain't asking no goddamn questions. I'm informing you. I'm giving you notice, bitch. Pack your shit. Men and women are not the same. And I don't think that we really want to be putting women and men in the same arenas athletically. Maybe in things like, I've seen co-ed darts. I'm okay with that. Like, that is not a physical realm whatsoever. It's a concentration, technique, skill, finesse, like all of that shit. Things like pool and bowling and dart, those are like finesse sports where it's like you hone a technique to perform consistently amongst a variable of obstacles. You know, that's what that is. So like men and women competing at that, like in terms of brain function, I don't think men are inherently smarter than women or women are inherently smarter than men. We both have our strengths and weaknesses. But physically, athletically, no. There's not a competition. To suggest anything otherwise is dangerous, is false, and it indicates that you don't have a solid grip on reality. And they need to put you back in the box you fucking came in and ship you and return the fucking sender. Goddamn lunatic. You want to see somebody actually go out here. You want these women to get in men's sports. Like you want to mix the sexes. Like you really want to do this. I think they should just go ahead and do it. Fuck it. Do it. And see how many women leave that shit on their own. You won't have to tell them to leave. They'll be leaving in droves. You won't be able to kick them out fast enough. The fuck? Let them do that shit, man. It's the show world. That's the show. Thanks for watching. The Chico de Manuel Show is now on Rumble. You can find the show on Rumble. You can find the show on YouTube. And you can also find it on Spotify. Episode 49 is now live on Spotify on the audio version. Listen to it now. That's all I got. Till next time, I'll holla. Peace out. Did I just say peace out? Yeah. Peace out.